Hello, this is Jed Strnad, completing my interview with an administrator. This is my presentation recording over the results and findings of my interview with Mr. Larry Bernard, principal at Russell High School. The 10 questions I asked basically were designed to try and get some information about goal setting, policy development, and also some information on budgeting within our individual, with our building at the local level. First question was, our school district has a mission statement that is posted on our website, on our school website. Does our school building have its own mission or specific set of goals? His answer was yes, we did at one time have a separate mission statement separate from the school district that was adopted due to QPA, Quality Performance Accreditation. Since No Child Left Behind, we are no longer required to post this in the building or publish it in the handbooks. Our basic goal is to meet AYP building-wide. That includes an attendance goal based on percentage of attendance, a graduation rate, and also a goal set individually based on past performance, but for reading and math as well. Our district mission statement, I found out, was never officially adopted by the school board. It was kind of one of those things that just all of a sudden one day appeared with no proposal to the school board or anything like that. It just showed up. As a building locally, we have no written goals. He thought that maybe was something that we should look into to give our building maybe a little bit more collective vision. However, we do have kind of some basic goals that we're trying to work together toward as a staff and administration through our building. Those are a transition to one-to-one student to laptops or student to computers, to meet adequate yearly progress every year, and also to move forward with our technology agenda, keeping all teachers as up to date with things that they're able to do with technology as possible. Secondly, who is responsible for setting any goals that take place within our building? Is it an individual, a community? He responded that it was pretty much the faculty as a group, as a whole, with the administration. He stated that he is not in favor, he is not an autocratic style leader, doesn't like to just hand down directives that need to take place. He wants all faculty to take ownership of the direction taken by the school. He stated that if teachers are given a say in what goes on, they will be more likely to work harder at what they do. However, certain things are encouraged, some things that we in-service about, staying current with technology, using Moodle as a method of communicating with students and parents. That's a site where we are able to post daily assignments, class notes, worksheets, even create quizzes and tests, and also to be, it's kind of mandated, I guess, that we be accessible to parents, to other teachers for email contact. That we make sure we check both our local in-house email as well as our entire school email that parents could contact us that way, or community members. What factors are examined before setting these goals? The biggest factor is a needs assessment through communication with the constituents of the school. I thought that kind of related well to what we're, this course, obviously, speaking with the students, parents, community members, whether that be through announcements through faculty meetings or meetings with the students before the start of the school year or end, or when certain issues arise. And setting those goals, and they could be related to something to do with curriculum, any facility improvements that might need to be, things that need to be addressed, as well as program offerings. Students, parents, community members all play a role in deciding what would be relevant for the school to worry about, as well as what should be offered educationally for students. Next question, what is the process for developing new policy at the building level? Basically said that's, and I've been a part of that as well, basically done through staff meetings. We kind of address the big questions: can we change, should we change, why should we change? Together the staff and administration develop a proposal for the school board. Larger schools might need a smaller committee made up of just a few teachers. On our level, with anywhere from 30 to 40 faculty members, we typically involve everyone at a in-service or a monthly faculty meeting or something like that. The first thing that needs to be done once we develop a proposal is to obtain board approval for a trial run at a change. After the trial run, we would make changes or recommendations based on what we found, and then it would be voted upon for final approval by the Board of Education. One example of this, our high school developed a new cell phone policy that's separate from the district policy, which now, it used to be zero tolerance for cell phones. We've come up with a plan that allows, and we did this last year, that allows students to use their cell phone between classes in the hallway, during passing periods, and also during lunch. And that has seemed to alleviate a lot of the problems with students wanting to use their cell phone in class when they have, throughout the day, nearly an hour time to use it throughout the day. It kind of alleviates the problem during class. Next question here, what is the typical time frame for developing a new policy? And we experienced this with the cell phone deal as well, but about a minimum of 2 months. He said the first thing, teachers and administration would again come up with a proposal. Depending on when that was, it would get on a board agenda as a discussion item the first month, and they would talk about it, maybe give approval to allow a trial to take place, and then the next month it would be on the board agenda as an action item where they would be able to vote and to allow the policy to become part of what the school district is allowing, or part of the all school rules. What channels must the policy go through before approval? Again, some of the things that I mentioned earlier. It's proposed by the staff and administration of an individual building, or possibly by a little higher up, a Board of Education, depending on maybe what some feedback they had gotten from the community. Approved by the Board of Education for a trial run. Policy is then tweaked by local staff and administration based on what works and what didn't. And then finally, it's approved as an action item by the Board of Education. There might be an amendment made to a all-school handbook or something the following year. The process for reviewing building policy, typically done by all staff for our building at the end of year school in-service or faculty meetings. They would draft any changes that need to be made, send to the Board of Education for approval. Again, this would take that typical 2-month time frame once those changes need to be made. That's why we typically do it at the end of the year. So over the summer, that gives the board something to be working on so that it's ready to go for the next year. One example of that, this past year we changed, beginning of this school year, we changed to a 7-period class day from a block schedule. So we had to edit and change our semester testing policy to based on what requirements were set for students that had to take finals versus what they had been in the past. In our high school being smaller, we're not real big on committees as far as reviewing policy. That way no ideas are lost or changed in the translation from a smaller group to the whole. Everybody sits down in the same room and has a chance to voice their opinion and respond through a vote that way, and everybody has a chance to have their input heard. In a larger school, that may not work. If there's a couple of hundred faculty members, that just maybe simply can't happen. But in our situation, again, our faculty is able to take ownership in what's going on. When policies are opposed by students, teachers, or community members, what is the appropriate protocol to follow to enact a change? Kind of follows a chain of command. A student might take their problem to a teacher, who would then follow to the administrator. Maybe the student would skip a teacher and go to the administrator himself, but then following that to the superintendent, then on to the board. Typically, problems are taken care of locally when it's a student or teacher bringing up a concern, or even a parent. The nature of the complaint is kind of weighed out to determine if it's something that needs to go on. Usually a problem can be solved by the administrator at the building. Our principal, he stated he's big on an open door policy. He always likes students, parents, even teachers as well. Come talk to me first. Don't jump up and talk to that superintendent or that board member, because then that kind of leaves him in the dark on maybe what the problem is. Last couple of questions I had were over budgeting. My question was, how are funds budgeted for each building when it comes to general expenses, repairs, supplies, etc.? The principal went through several building budgets with me. First of all, our capital outlay, which is basically for structural needs, remediation with students, as well as equipment. Our particular budget is about $25,000 in that side of things for our building. That money is based on student population and also our nature of business, where we have maybe a little more contact with the public at the high school level than what maybe an elementary school would. The next budget we went through was the supply budget. kind of looked at things line by line. Kind of eye-opening to me to just take a look at everything and how each classroom or each individual need might be budgeted out. Again, our building, about $83,000 was set aside for supplies. Again, that's based on population and different needs due to like course offerings, such as maybe a science lab at the high school probably would need more money to operate than what maybe an elementary school classroom would at the lower grade levels. We went through at-risk funding, or the money budgeted to our school. That was based on free and reduced lunches. Relatively small number, only $1,500. That money is typically given to our counselor to work with that type of student population as he does his work throughout the year. We also took a look at vocational courses, or a vocational budget, which is basically used to fund CTE courses such as I teach, agriculture, building trades, even art, journalism, things like that. And finally, our principal also administrates the transportation department, and so we looked at that budget and talked briefly about that as well. And then how is that money, budgeted money, typically spent? Who makes those decisions? Our principal was really proud of the fact that he's never gone in the red on his budget since he's been employed as a principal at the high school. Typically, he spends up the previous year's money, making sure teachers' needs for the coming year are met, and then he has the entire next year's budget to work with and available for the school year, not spent before. The goal is to have money left over at the end of the year to buy anything needed, rather than have to tell teachers no during the school year for their particular need. If teachers need an item for the classroom, it's typically, they're typically not told no. They can be purchased from a classroom budget or from the supply budget. Career and tech teachers' materials are taken care of through vocational budgets, or also from Perkins funding or VE2 funding through the Education Consortium. Needs are typically evaluated. Typically, teachers aren't turned down unless it's a frivolous thing that they need, but most of the time they're conscientious of requests that they're sending in, especially during financially difficult times, such as ones that a lot of schools are going through right now. Some aha moments. First one was, my first question about our school mission statement, when our principal said it was never even adopted by the school board. That kind of makes me wonder how many other things are out there like that never really get the proper attention that they need to be approved and maybe edited and thought about, have a little bit of foresight before they're just put out there. And the last one on budgeting, I thought it was a great idea about not going in the red by spending the money for the coming year on the previous year's budget. And also the other items about classroom budgets that I just didn't know about. I kind of learned about that process, and that was really interesting to me. Hopefully you've learned a little bit about how some policy and things are developed at the local level. And that is the end of my presentation.